Well, you were well. You weren't born in Seattle, but you grew up in Seattle. And you've been to Pittsburgh many times.
Many times.
Many times.
I have a jacket that I still own that I bought in Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah. A cool, long kind of hemp jacket made out of leather.
Okay.
Got a fur collar on it.
Cool. Do you find Pittsburgh to be similar to Seattle?
No.
No. How? In what ways?
Well, it's a lot older city, and of course, it's been populated a lot longer. Cities are hard to judge. I mean, God, Pittsburgh has its own traditions and ways of doing things that are uniquely its own. I think Seattle's a whole different thing. The West Coast is really different than the East Coast in general, as is the South. To the coasts.
On a different note, are you following the election? Getting into
No,
not at all.
I hardly ever follow elections. I hate politics.
Okay.
Actually, I find it really frustrating. It's almost like a game, like a sporting event.
Is that frustration part of what you put into Dark Money?
Well, Dark Money is simply a song that points out a trend that I see happening, and a lot of people are talking about now. Where we grew up with this idea that one vote counts. If everybody leaned in a certain way, then that group of people would be considered the winners of the election. But that all those rules have changed now. It's a different game, and they didn't tell us. So we think it's one way, but it's really being played another way. We have all these billionaires and multinational corporations that are influencing the elections and paying for them, basically, and also influencing legislation as well. So the song just kind of points that out. It doesn't pick a side, left or right, because they both do it. It's just pointing out that this is happening and encouraging people to discuss, which I think is the key to civilization. I think the more we communicate about things, the more we can understand them from a larger point of view, and the easier we can affect change. The more we talk about it, the more we understand.
Lyrically, where are you drawing inspiration these days?
Oh, everywhere. And I think life's pretty darn interesting. There's a lot going on with my own life, my own development, people I know, close to, people that are surrounding me, and also as an observer on just what's happening around the world. Pretty interesting stuff going on. We're changing, and progressing at a real rapid rate now, and I think that's probably due to our ability to communicate now. Technology's given us the edge, so now we're all discussing events almost in real time now. There's hardly any delay, of days and weeks go by. It used to be in the past where something would happen and it'd take weeks for the word to spread around the world. Now it's a split second and everybody's talking about it.
Right.
So that's real exciting. And those kind of things really affect a change, in a global perspective. It's almost like we're, that idea of the global network or think globally. That's definitely happening now. We're all tied together economically, in a global sense, as is witness to the 2008 financial meltdown affected markets all over the world. And so that's interesting. I think our evolution, as human beings, is going to what's in escalation mode right now. It's gathering momentum. Exciting.
It is, and you touched a little bit on the ideas of technology and so forth. For someone who's been in the music business and seen a lot of changes in that time, how do you find adapting to today's business with having to be so involved with social media, kind of this instantaneous contact with fans and so forth?
Well, yeah, it's really different. Yeah, the the music industry doesn't resemble anything close to what it was when I started out 30 some odd years ago. It's not even the same game. You know, we were talking about games earlier and how the game gets switched on you, you know, and sometimes you don't realize it. Well, this is definitely a game that's changed. Nothing is similar other than the title record industry. You know? Yeah, it's all very different. It's all very much hands-on nowadays. You're doing the job, well, several jobs. Like in the past, you would have had a record company taking care of all these different things for you, you know. And nowadays, you don't have that. Record companies are almost obscure, or I don't know. They're all going by the wayside because there's no money in it anymore, you know, because of the downloading. It's pretty much gutted the record industry economically. So artists are doing a lot more hands-on work now. You know, you're doing all your day-to-day business yourself. You're handling the music, of course, the music production, video production yourself, even marketing, getting out there and keeping up on Facebook every day. It's kind of frustrating because a lot of the infrastructure of the business, venues, for example, promoters, they haven't caught on that the old way of doing things doesn't work anymore. You know, the public doesn't go to the entertainment section to find out what's happening in the newspaper. In fact, nobody buys newspapers anymore. Everything is done on Facebook. Everything. And most venues don't even have a Facebook. And the ones that do don't keep it updated day to day so people can find out what's happening, which blows my mind. That's how you make your money. That's how you create income. Why wouldn't you advertise your business, you know?
Yeah.
But they don't get it. They're still relying on the old way of doing things, which isn't working. There's a new model now.
So do you think that's because it's a lot of older promoters and they just haven't caught on to it and they need some young blood?
I do. So, you know, in these kind of times that we're in now, you can look at it, you know, as a complete obstacle, like nothing's going right. But really, it's a time of opportunity, you know, for people with some vision and people that aren't afraid to roll their sleeves up and work to really get ahead and get their foot in the door in any business, you know, because things are changing rapidly and you got to be on it. You know, you got to be reading up on what the latest technology is, what it can do for you, how can it, you know, push you ahead. You got to keep up on that stuff. You know?
Do you enjoy that at all?
I do, yeah.
Seems like you're pretty into it.
I'm not so much gadget oriented, you know, but I like the exploring the concepts of what technology can do.
You seem fairly well read and cognizant of what's going on.
I got you fooled.
Well, I mean, you know, we see it in the lyrics and the concepts, the themes, and so forth. Was there any way it was such a different approach for Kings and Thieves? How did you approach this particular record?
Not clear.
Yeah, the production or even the brief. It kind of came out of a tumultuous situation, but made it into a positive situation.
Yeah, I got you.
And you've done solo work before, but...
Well, you know, this one, it kind of started out kind of interesting. It was New Year's Eve, and with some friends and family, and everybody's toasting New Year's and making resolutions, you know. So it got to be my turn, and I decided I was going to make a solo record this year. So January 2nd, I started writing songs and, you know, working diligently at doing that. And the whole record just kind of came together very organically, very easily. It was the smoothest record I think I've ever made, and the quickest. You know, it started at January 2nd and finished at July 15th. And as compared to like Queensryche records in the past, they take like years to make.
Yeah.
Right. And I just didn't want to do that on this record. I wanted to have a record that was, you know, immediate. I wanted to write about what was, you know, relevant to me now. I didn't want to just have it stretch out for a couple of years and lose the for an old school approach, which is, get everybody in the room, talk about what you want to do, and then just kind of do it. You do it all together rather than having people not show up or sit in their studios miles away in another country or another city or whatever, and email you anthem sections of the song, and you have to paste it all together and all that stuff. There's actually guys sitting around playing together. I think that's one of the things you feel on the record, is it has that kind of that feel. It's hard to describe, but you feel it more than you can intellectualize it. And a lot of the stuff was written on the spot. There's a song on the album "In the Dirt." We wrote that in a night. Just sitting around playing blues riffs, talking about our collective experiences traveling around the world, specifically in New Orleans. If you've ever been there, it's kind of a cool town. It's very different, And that song kind of came out of just a conversation, And I like that kind of thing. I haven't really experienced that kind of creative synergy, since the Garment with the band way back. I used to write like that. We'd sit in one room and talk about stuff and come up with songs, and haven't done that, in 17 years. So it was really a pleasure to work on this record. And I got to work at my own pace. I'm a workaholic. I like to work and work and work and work. And I behind my back working on this record, I could just envision something and do it. I didn't have to get several people's approval or anything like that. So it was a real hands-on kind of experience.
Are there still plans to go out with a kind of an all-star Queensryche with Bobby Blotzer and all those guys?
Yeah, we're getting together in about 2 weeks. Doing some press preparation and some photos and things, and then we're getting together in January to do rehearsals.
So we might be able to see you come around here again.
Oh yeah,
those guys. Yeah, great. That'd be a lot of fun. One last question I have for you: How do you keep your voice in such tremendous shape?
Practice.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. It's a muscle. It's like working out. You just have to be diligent about it. And discipline. If you want to lose weight, you gotta stop eating. If you want to be a strong singer, you gotta sing every day. That's what I do.
Well, we appreciate your time.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Much success with solo, and look forward to tonight. You come back around again with Queensryche.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. It's great.